guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a tutorial of Olivia Rodrigo, Good For You, the new song that just came out. I really love this song. It's it's reminding me a bit of the 2000 pop rock, punk type of riffs on guitar with power chords, a lot of intensity and power. So yeah, pretty fun to play. If you're more of a intermediate expert level, I'd recommend you check out the other video I did, which is just a playthrough. So I'm just playing the whole song. And that might be enough for you if you are at that level, just looking at the chords. So yeah, let's jump right into it. So all the chords are going to be power chords, which means you'll need your first finger and then either third finger and pinky like this. So that's a full power chord. You take the root note and then you take the fifth and then you add the octave of the first fundamental. So that's an example with the F. And then I'm not going to discuss all of the chords because they're all the same. Then you've got an E. So I'll just give you that on screen. You just kind of have to nail the power chord position, which is very simple. Now what you're going to see probably during this video is that I get very lazy and I just grab my power chords with two fingers only, which is normally the first and the pinky actually. And I just grab those two first strings, so second and third if I'm playing on the root second string, and if I'm on the first string, it's going to be first and second. So half of the first verse is no guitar, then the guitar gets in. The chords for the verse, so for the second part of the verse, of course, where the guitar enters, are going to be F sharp, power chord, then E power chord, then D power chord, and then D flat power chord. How long you stay on each is pretty much half measure, so it goes like that: 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, and then 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So it's always the same amount of time for each of the chord, except for the last one where you really just hit it, that D flat, and then you go into the chorus. Okay, now in terms of the strum, your right hand, you just want to do down all the time, so it's going to be pretty fast. And the last thing you really want to do, as you could hear, is that it's all palm muted. So you need to have your right hand, the palm of your right hand slightly touching the chords, the strings. And that's going to help you as well doing that gentle sound, and you can really gauge how much power you put into that riff. So you really want to start as low as possible. Increase the power as you go. And that last D flat really should be kind of the most powerful note of this riff, and then you go into the chorus with the high intensity. So hopefully that makes sense. That's how the intro goes. Let's now jump into the chorus. Okay, so for the chorus it gets quite tricky, quite complicated, simply because I don't want to give you a strumming pattern, and I know you guys like your strumming patterns, especially beginners, but this song I think really should be improvised, or at least have some kind of changes. Otherwise it's going to sound really robotic if you follow the same strumming pattern. Because I know you like strumming patterns, I'll still put one on screen and you can follow that along. But being honest with you, when I play it, I probably won't be looking at that strumming pattern. I prefer going improvisation, and there's actually a cool video you can look. I'll put that, I can't remember who did it. He's one of the famous guitar YouTuber. I'll just put that there, and he explains how to strum naturally, and having, you know, your arms just moving back and forth and hitting the strings when you want it to be. So yeah, it's quite interesting, and you can definitely use that technique for that song. Now what I'll show you though is when to change the chords. First, I'll show you all the chords you need for the chorus, and then we're going to have a deep dive into the tempo, like the rhythm, and when you should change the chords, basically. So we do have a D to start with, and you actually ended on a D flat in the verse, so that makes it quite simple. Actually, the D flat, I'll take it here. You can take it here, by the way, in the verse. So when you do you could do that as well, rather than doing it here. Anyway, same thing. Yeah, so you start on a D, then you do A, then you go in a E position, and then you do F sharp, E, D, you back on the D, and then you loop that over and over. Now let's have a look at when you should be changing chords. So the first one's very simple. You start on the 1 at the very start of the measure. So we've got, actually I'll do a countdown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you can see you stay on the E quite a lot, but the rest is pretty quick, and some of them are half beat. So half beat, usually I take them as an upstroke, as you could see. But yeah, that's the pattern you really need to understand, and you really need to be changing chords at the right time. But for the rest, I would really encourage you actually improvise. So again, I'll put strumming pattern on screen if you'd like. But the way I play it is really open to interpretation, and again, that's my own interpretation. So what you can do with your left hand to make it sound better is release the pressure between chords, for example, or even within the same chords when you hit with your right hand, so you make it sound like a rhythm. I'll try to demonstrate that because I'm not sure if that actually makes sense. So let's say we are on the F sharp here and we're doing the F sharp E D at the very end. So instead of doing, you would do, and that downstroke muted really gives it like a good pace and you know, a good beat to the song as well. And I do it quite a lot between chords. So here at the start, same thing. So you could hear that. If you don't do it, it's gonna sound very robotic again. Okay, so that's the chorus. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so let's now have a look at the post-chorus or pre-verse or whatever you want to call it. Which is where you're gonna play chords in the near the nut of the guitar to give it more of a bassy tone, bassy vibe. So we start on an F sharp, and we've got the E. So the E is still a power chord, so don't bother really, you know, doing a proper E, because it's not even an E minor. You'd have to do, but you just want to take it as a power chord. So Nirvana style, if that makes sense. Then we've got B, again power chord. So that's it, F sharp, E, B. For this post chorus, you can actually use a strumming pattern. So I'll put that on screen because it's more simple and it's more defined, I think, than the chorus, where it's a bit more messy. Okay, so this one goes down, 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 up. And that's it. The only thing to kind of say on that riff is when you're on the F sharp, before you jump on the E, you can have a muting again here. So down, 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 up. So muting down and then up, up, up. And between the up, up, you can also have those muting down. After that post-chorus, what we're going to do is go back into the verse, and the verse is going to be the same that the very first verse, the intro, and the guitar is going to come halfway through, alternating between the F sharp and the E again, so 3 times, and on the 4th time you go D flat again, so same thing, nothing's changed here. Then you again have a chorus with the exact same rate, so that hasn't changed 4 times again. Then we've got the post-chorus again, so same thing, 2 times of post-chorus. And here we've got the solo, guitar solo. And the guitar solo is actually my own interpretation. I haven't looked at any tab on the internet or other videos, so this is really what I think it could be. It might be actually very off from reality, and there might be some small notes that I'm missing here. But anyway, what I've got is second finger on 6th fret 4th string, doing a hammer on to the 7. So, and then with the hammer on with the 3rd finger. Then first finger on last string 5th fret. And then I do 7, 6 to this 4th string. And then I kind of loop that actually, and that's pretty much it. That's all I've got for the solo, so it sounds pretty good. If you wanted to play what's behind that on the rhythm guitar, it's the exact same pattern than the chorus. So you can play the chorus behind that solo, just for 2 times instead of 4, that's the only difference. And after that we enter the bridge. For the first part of the bridge, it's actually just the bass playing. And for the second part, the guitar enters. So it's very similar to the verses, but the difference is with the guitar, we're not going to play and alternate between the F sharp and the E. So we're still going to do palm muting, still crescendo, and still pick all downstroke, but we're going to do F sharp, E, and then B. And you're going to stay twice as long on the F sharp than the 2 other chords. So it goes like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you do that 4 times with increasing power a little bit. So at the very end, you're going to arrive with quite a lot of power, and then you go into that post-bridge or whatever, like special chorus, where it's just the guitar itself that sounds a bit unplugged. And a good way to try to approach that one is probably just to think about it that way, that you don't have imagine you don't have an amp and you've got a room full of people and you're trying to play as loud as you can so everyone can hear you. So I feel like this is what is happening in that part of the song, is that you're really trying to make it the most powerful that you can, and that also means adding some strums here and there. So again, go hard on the guitar for that particular part. And that's the chorus that's being played, so it's the same thing than the chorus. The only difference what you can add in terms of strumming is these trio notes that goes like that. So I've got these trio notes, I'm not sure how to call them, like the transition trio basically. You want to do down, up, down very fast. And you really want to make sure that you start before the 1 on the measure, so before the first beat of the measure, because you want the last one, so the third of the 3, to be on the 1, if that makes sense. So if I count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So you can just practice doing this, with a metronome, for example. And this strumming trick is actually quite handy in acoustic guitar as well. I use it all the time. And if I incorporate that into the chorus, we've got... Well, I messed up that last one and I've put it somewhere else, but you get the idea. Yeah, try to really make it sound natural, adding your own interpretation here and there. And something that I haven't mentioned for that part, you're only going to play the pattern twice, and on the second time you're going to stop on the E. So you stop just before you would have gone on the F sharp and then E. So you kind of stop on a half beat as well. So try to nail that pace and that pattern. And then you go back into the chorus, which is the exact same as a normal chorus 4 times. Then we've got the post-chorus, which is going to be 2 times again. And then we end the song with an outro that's going to play the same chords than the post-chorus, but you're just going to be doing down, up, down, up, down, up. So. And you end on this F sharp right there. Alright, so that's it for this tutorial. I hope you found that helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you're after something more strictly exactly what the song should be, I'm sure you'll find other videos. I really wanted to leave it to interpretation for that one. I really think that's the type of song that should be improvised a little bit. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget that I've got a playthrough as well as a separate video if you're interested with that song. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.